Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And this is not a video I expected to do. We're actually talking about Amazon's Lord of the Rings again. And apparently it's coming out that Amazon is burning through massive amounts of money on TV shows, streaming shows that nobody is actually watching.
You don't say.
What?
I can't, that's impossible.
Yeah, this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter, and this is, look, Amazon's cutting back all over the place now. They're laying people off, and they're going to take a good hard look at their expenses. And remember, Lord of the Rings, they paid, what, like $1 billion or something for it? Clearly, they did not get a return on that investment. In fact, they're saying less than 40% of people who started watching the show actually finished it. That is
bad.
Catastrophic. That means that a lot of people dropped off after the first couple episodes, which you kind of figured. The Boys actually had more viewers than Lord of the Rings.
But that's toxic.
It's a toxic show.
That's the joke, because they're toxic.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Geeky will give you a woohoo if you give us a sub.
Woohoo!
And we do talk about Lord of the Rings. We haven't been talking about nearly as much. It kind of came and went, and then I forgot it even existed. And then Embracer is talking about doing movies again or something. Yeah, because we have to keep going there and back again and again and again.
Hobbit's Tale.
This is coming from Giant Freaking Robot, who got it from the Hollywood Reporter. And I think this is hilarious. Giant Freaking Robot used to dunk on our website.
Our Disney one, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of years ago saying that it was like, an alt-right rag and all this stuff. And now they're running with the kinds of stories that we used to run on that website. It's kind of funny. In fact, we're seeing a lot of Disney sites, taking contrary positions now and writing stories that are actually more clickbaity than anything we've ever done.
Yeah, they're way worse than I would have ever taken it. But anyway.
Inside the tragic. Yeah, so anyway, let's talk about this. Amazon is spending an insane amount of money on shows no one is watching. They've yet to develop a mega hit for the streaming platform. Even Rings of Power doesn't come close to the numbers Amazon's competitors are pulling in.
If only someone had told them this was a bad idea. Everyone on YouTube told them it was a bad idea.
They went up against the Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, and they got their butts kicked. Amazon is seemingly suffering from having too many cooks in the kitchen.
Cooks in the pot? Wait.
Wait, why are you...
what kind of kitchen are you running? Too many cooks in the pot?
Too many cooks in the pot.
Oh, wow.
According to a veteran producer who expresses confusion, is this read by AI? According to a veteran producer who expresses confusion over what kind of mark the Amazon brand wants to make with its content. Again, coming from the Hollywood Reporter initially, they said Amazon has had success in the form of the Rings of Power. The series is a far cry from Game of Thrones. Not only has the series not taken home any major awards, how very dare they shun all those persons of color, those
diversity people,
Harfoots of color. How dare you? Yes. The numbers are quite low in terms of viewers actually completing the series. You're not allowed to say this, Giant Freaking Robot. If you say this, you are literally Nazis.
Right.
That's what we were told.
Clearly alt-right.
If you point out that the show...
put a MAGA hat on.
Yeah, right. They need to put a little red hat on that robot. If you point out that this show is not being watched, and you point out that it's not winning awards, and you point out that, frankly, it's not very good... It doesn't matter how diverse it is. The show is not very good objectively. You are literally a Nazi.
So you use the word objectively, and there's no such thing as objective anymore. That's the problem.
The head of the studios, Jennifer Salke, cites internal discussions involving the show being mostly positive.
Where?
I don't know. Domestic viewership numbers indicate only 37% completion rate, which is considered to be far below average.
Cites internal discussions involving the show being mostly positive. So wait, she's saying that the internal discussions, they're telling each other, good job. We're kicking butt, and it's all positive and good news. We're doing great. The numbers don't say that, but we'll just tell each other we're doing great, and then we'll believe it.
Yes, you're good enough, you're smart enough, doggone it, people like you, and if they don't,
fake it till we make it.
If they don't like you, they're Nazis. See, this is what happens when you have a surplus of money. When you've got funny money, and you can just bankroll whatever you want to. You don't have to actually get a return on the results. Well, now Jeff Bezos wants a return on the results. In fact, they're gutting Amazon at this point because
Well, they could have just asked. They could have just asked us and gave us some money. We could have told them they were full of crap and it wasn't going to work, and then we could have saved them millions.
$20, I could tell you what you.
No. I mean, as much as they spent, they could give me a couple million, and I'll tell them exactly what not to do, and then they could have avoided all this hassle.
I would just say, hey, don't do any more Lord of the Rings. It doesn't need to be done.
Right. Well, that's
Thanks.
the 1st
I'll
thing.
just
Yeah.
deposit that check.
But if you're insisting on doing it, we're going to tell you what not to do.
What not to do.
Pretty much everything you've done. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. And sure as hell, do not go out and antagonize the fans. They always do this. Hey, come watch our show. Oh, except for you rednecks. We don't want you guys. You bigoted, misogynist hypocrites.
We don't want you men, especially white straight men.
Yeah, we don't want you. We want our diverse, cool DEI audience, and not realizing where the majority of fans for Tolkien are on the spectrum of diversity. They're at the whiter end.
Not always.
Not always, but I would say that the vast majority of
I would say that about the books. I don't think that's the case in the movies, though.
Not with the movies, but with the books, absolutely.
I mean, for the books, yes. The films, no. I mean, I think that was very diverse. I mean, people that came to see it, they were like a wide range.
Well, it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons too. Like they have the audience, and look, I'm absolutely positive. I want to be clear. I have to be clear because people are stupid and they clip little bits of the video. They don't actually watch the video, or they just look at the thumbnail and say, hey, that's what you're talking about. No, I want to be clear. Fantasy is welcoming for everybody.
It always has been.
But historically, Tolkien and Dungeons and Dragons and all of that stuff historically has been mostly nerdy white male.
Well, they know that. They're trying to change that.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted by Desperate Housewives reboot in the works because, of course, we need another reboot of that. I want to see the Common Sense reboot.
I think we need a Common Sense reboot. Yeah, I think we need to just hit the reset button and just be like, you know what? Everybody just gets a new download, a new operating system because this one's broken. All right. So they said that, there's no clear vision according to a former executive. Vernon Sanders, who's the head of television for the studio, is a competent, approachable, and kind person who relies heavily on input. Oh, here we go.
From focus groups.
From focus groups rather than having any true vision. So I had a theory. And I actually talked about it in a blog post, why Twitter had so much power for so long. And I think this is why. I think these executives are relying on focus groups.
Thinking that's going to Twitter, thinking that's indicative of everyone, and it's not.
Younger social media managers, sensitivity readers, all of these people that freshly minted from college, these older executives are relying on the youths to tell them what's what and what people want. So everything is being filtered.
Yeah.
And by the time it gets to them, they're like, oh, this must be what people want. Absolutely, Frodo should be a black lesbian in a wheelchair because that's what the focus group and the sensitivity readers.
That's what Frodo deserves.
That's what Frodo deserves. You know, So, I think that is a huge part of it. In addition to not having a clear vision for what kind of programming Amazon could produce, they're spending a ton of money on acquisitions. This happened to Disney too, and this is going to bite them in the ass. $8.5 billion for MGM, which is not worth $8.5 billion, not on any planet. Former creative executives have voiced their frustration by saying, we don't want to buy from outside studios. Then packages come and then they buy everything that comes through the door and our development is thrown out.
So basically, in a nutshell, people in charge relied on listening to Twitter and focus groups, which I'm sure were obviously of a certain type of person. And that's what they listened to. So they were like, oh, yes, they're going to love this. They're on the right track. It blew up in their faces after they got everybody, of course, they were part of the focus group, called people like us, istophobes and everything else, which we said it was going to flop terribly. Then it did. And they're like, oh, shit, you mean like the focus groups are wrong?
Oh, my God. So, yeah, Daily Dot, they break it down even more. They said, only 37% of U.S. viewers watched through season 1. Overseas, it was still underwhelming at 45%. So here to compare, Netflix.
That's just of viewership. That's not all of the U.S. That's like, so if you had 1 million people watching, only 370,000 people finished the show.
Yeah, we don't know where they stopped at. They might have been after the first episode, they're like, yeah, this sucks. This isn't anything like the movies. This sucks. Netflix, they play into cancellation decisions, the completion rate. For comparison, Netflix's smash hit Squid Game has an 87% completion rate and Heartstopper has 73%. First Kill, which was canceled, had an unimpressive completion rate of 44%. So Netflix canceled a show that only had 44% completion.
Mm-hmm.
And Amazon threw $1 billion at a show that has 37.
And they're throwing more money. It's like throwing good money after bad at this point. Yeah, they're saying here, if half the audience watches to the end, it's considered bad.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what happened with Cowboy Bebop. I think, Cowboy Bebop was canceled within the first week or two. And what happened was, I think they looked at the numbers and they're like, oh my God, people are only watching an episode or two, and then they're noping out. And that's not a good sign. And, so they're like, yeah, how much does this show cost? Oh, that much. Yeah, let's not do any more.
But here's why they're doing more. Because they said that there's a list of the 15 most viewed streaming shows of 2022. The Boys were at number 11. Rings of Power was at number 15. So Rings of Power is what they're considering it a win.
Even though it's ridiculously expensive, even though it's caused all kinds of bad will.
Even though those probably numbers are from just 1 or 2 episodes because it fell off a cliff afterwards.
Yeah. And they pushed the hell out of it. Like, you couldn't escape The Lord of the Rings for a couple months. It was like you would, turn on Amazon Prime. There it was. Boom.
You hired the showrunners because they spoke Elvish when they came in to pitch the show.
Yeah. They
had no experience.
The showrunners, yes. Remember, the showrunners came from Bad Robot, where they couldn't get anything pushed through.
They never got anything picked up.
Like 10 years, they were kind of milling around Hollywood, and then J.J. Abrams picked up the phone and said, yeah, these guys are friends of mine. Give them something.
These guys, I'm tired of dealing with these guys. Can you take them?
Could you just and talk about failing upwards. I mean, holy hell, you fall into the most expensive TV show of all time.
That's okay. They earned it. They speak Elvish.
God, yeah. So it's just, they said the Rings of Power dropped sharply after the high-profile premiere episodes. House of the Dragon gained viewers as the first season progressed. I think what happened with House of the Dragon is they won back people that were angry about the ending of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Word of mouth. It was like, hey, the show's actually good. It's actually really, really good. You need to go watch it. And the opposite happened with Rings of Power. It's like, yeah, this show's dog shit. It has nothing to do with the movies, really.
Well, it didn't help. They immediately started from the get-go. If you're questioning our choices, you're a bigot. And that's what they ran with. And you right off the gate, if you do that right off the bat, you're going to already limit your audience. You're going to, ones who maybe we're going to give you a chance, you've just halved it.
Okay, this is funny. This is a Daily Dot making excuses. Considering the budget and publicity for the Rings of Power, there's a certain too big to fail element at play here.
That still failed.
There's also the question of what success actually looks like for a streaming show.
Well, Daily Dot wants to know what success actually looks like for a blog.
Viewership numbers are an obvious way to measure popularity, but subscription streaming content isn't directly profitable in the same way as a traditional broadcast show. The Rings of Power has a more ephemeral benefit for Amazon, attracting new subscribers.
Weren't their subscribers down too?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, subscriber numbers are what you're going to go by, right? Except their numbers are flatlined.
Yeah.
And it's a problem. And I think that's part of the reason their stock keeps going down.
Yeah.
You're right, Daily Dot. Subscribers is a metric.
Yeah.
If only it actually, did gain subscribers for Amazon. Then you'd have an argument.
As of January 18th of this year, which is after the Rings of Power, the number of subscribers have been in decline since July of last year. And
Rings of Power was after that.
Right in the middle of that.
Right. Yep. So according to Daily Dot, it's okay, guys. New subscribers, that's why. Except they didn't get new subscribers, Daily Dot. Reminding pre-existing Amazon Prime customers that the streaming service exists. Most people just didn't even care. And functioning as a broader publicity for the Amazon brand.
It's a hell of a commercial.
So basically, it doesn't matter because here's some nebulous reasons that you can't track to say that this is what they're going for. Except subscribers. Because that would be the one thing that I would say that I'd argue that you're correct about. But it didn't. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Like the halfling's weed.
That's right.
Like Gandalf. Yeah, so there we go.
Shall not pass.
Shall not pass. It's like passing a kidney stone. What it is. So this thing, they're going to do another season, probably on the cheap. Good luck with that. It's going to fail too. Nobody cares. Moving on.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support. and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.